10 digital must-haves for contractors. I'm excited to be here to talk about tech in the industry. I personally am very passionate about using technology, especially in the field of home improvements. For those of you who don't know, I'm the one who created Leap to solve a lot of challenges that I was experiencing as a sales rep, but there's so much more out there to help you in your selling process. So without any further delay, I'm just going to go ahead and jump into the 10 must-haves. So as mentioned, I created Leap to solve some of the challenges I was seeing firsthand. By using Leap, we as contractors are able to differentiate ourselves through giving homeowners 3 major things. Those 3 major things are peace of mind, choice, and convenience. Contractors that are not using digital tools are unable to offer the same as contractors who are using digital tools. So homeowners have become accustomed to having their needs met with many choices conveniently at their fingertips. So one of the things I'm really excited about with home improvements, I mentioned this a bunch if you've been on any of my webinars, is how technology has created so much wealth and so much convenience. And the home improvement industry is one of the only industries left untapped with technology. We're kind of in its infancy with the software that's available for home improvements. So homeowners are already accustomed to technology. But when it comes to buying home improvements, it's there isn't much interaction for the customer. So it's really an opportunity for contractors to be at the cutting edge and separate themselves from the competition. So when someone wants food, for instance, a homeowner wants food, they don't need to pull out a paper carry-out menu. Before they used to deliver the menus in your door handle. You come home from work and you have a pizza menu or something like that in there. You'd have to call up the restaurant, place your order and then go and pick it up. Today they have an app like DoorDash and Uber Eats that allows you to see an updated menu. They can say what's in stock, what's not in stock, all through the app. Customers can select what they want. They can apply any coupons or promotions that the restaurant might be having, add their preferences, and have it brought directly to their doorstep. So all through one thing, what everybody has nowadays is their digital device in their pocket. So homeowners are just accustomed to doing this now. Digital is no longer a perk. It's really the standard. It's what everybody's expecting now. So that being said, I'm excited to share today my top 10 digital tools that will make your sales process better for both you and your customer. So here they are, 10 things a contractor must have to reach success. That only digital tools can ultimately provide. Starting chronologically in the sales process, it's no surprise that things can easily fall through the cracks at the very beginning. In your process, setting you up for success from a moment a customer submits an inquiry. One, are your customers hearing from you in your organization 3 days later or immediately? So ask yourself that when a customer interacts, submits a lead capture form on a Friday night, how soon is it until they hear from you? Do they get a response right away in their inbox, or is it Monday morning when somebody at the office comes in and actually makes a phone call to them? So email and text may be fast and convenient, but unfortunately these electronic modes of communication lack the tone and nuance that people rely on to convey meaning. They say try to conduct initial communications with clients in person, in person or Zoom, over the phone, to avoid any misunderstandings. And then once you develop a client relationship, and the project is underway, email and text can be used to convey short messages as needed. So as promised, I want to talk about a few of the tech tools that will help you capitalize on sales opportunities. Signpost and WebRunner are 2 that come to mind. There are 2 resources that you can implement. Signpost is a custom communication platform for contractors, and WebRunner specializes in pay-per-click advertising and high converting landing pages. Both can help pick up the slack with initial customer inquiries and can really help you digitize the top part of your funnel, kind of like the first time that the customer interacts with your company. After the initial inquiry and you have provided consistent communication, you'll be left with a lot of information that the customer provided. So ask yourself, what are you doing with that information, and are you referencing it? Homeowners don't have a lot of spare time and want to know that they have been heard. Using tech will show them your value. Using tech will show them that you value their time. So taking all the lead information that you gathered, having it in a central database is key, but you also need your sales reps to know that information. Be sure to get them all the info you can before the appointment. I remember when I was a sales rep sitting at the kitchen table, I had a little paper survey that, this is obviously before Leap and before we went digital. I had a paper survey. I'd ask the customer a bunch of questions. And oftentimes the customer would say to me, well, the person on the phone who just called me an hour ago to let me know that you're on your way asked me half of these same questions. So if you're using technology, so for instance, we're on the same slide, Liz, get a CRM. Getting a CRM should be your first major tech decision. CRMs are invaluable. You are able to organize all your leads and clients' information all in one software. You can also share information collected across your organization so that everyone is in the know, not just the sales rep. Here's a list of CRMs that Leap currently works with. We have great relationships with these integrations and are able to transfer data between Leap and the CRM. Giving your sales reps the information is not enough. Sales reps should also be doing some pre-appointment prep. Before they are on site at the appointment, they should have reviewed the information the customer submitted and identified any areas they need more clarification on. They could also make the most of their appointment by reviewing public records and mapping the site. I can't stress this enough. Again, going back, I'll give you a couple examples throughout this presentation of when I was a sales rep, but I used to look up who the owners of the house was before I went to the appointment using public records to make sure I was meeting with the actual homeowners. I would also look up how much they bought for the house, how long ago, or how much they paid for the house, and how long ago they bought it. So I could use that. There have been numerous times where I see that the homeowner's been living in the house for 20 plus years. And, as we're talking about financing information, I would bring up the idea of a home equity loan, because if they haven't refinanced in those 20 years, then, it could be a win-win. You could refinance that thing, get them a huge, home improvement project complete, and their monthly payment could possibly go down, especially with today's interest rates. The other thing is mapping, like, Eagle View, especially. Google Maps is another one where you can just look up the customer's house, an aerial view, and you could see houses in the neighborhood. I used to try and scope out both from satellite imaging like Google or Eagle View, and even driving through the neighborhood when I was coming to the customer's house to see if maybe there's a homeowners association, so that I knew what I could pitch and what I couldn't pitch based on what was around and the other houses. Also looking at if a house recently sold or was for sale, that can all play in to when I'm sitting at the kitchen table with Mr. and Mrs. Jones and help me win their business or maybe even overcome an objection. So next slide, Liz. So digital measurement providers will help your sales reps in the field by measuring their project ahead of time, lessening the time on site and room for measurement error. Eagle View, which is today's sponsor, is one of these excellent measurement providers. Another one, this was a tool that was kind of a game changer for me as a sales rep. When I would go out to the customer's house, I would order an Eagle View and then use this as a tool to help close the deal. So many times we talk to contractors who use Eagle View, a super popular tool, but they use it after the sale is made. So I always feel like, hey, yeah, you're getting a value out of the report, but you're not getting as much value out of the report as you can. If you order the report in the beginning, build it into the cost of running an appointment. And it's a drop in the bucket compared to how much more revenue you can get, both on the deals that you currently sell. Maybe you sell for a little bit more just because the customer feels a little bit more comfortable because the measurements were done digitally. I used to compare this to going to a grocery store, and imagine that you go to a grocery store and they ring everything up and they hit the total button. You don't ever question what the register came up with the total. When you're using tools like Eagle View, I was able to show the homeowner the report of their house and explain to them the technology under the hood there on how they came up with their measurement. And then when you use that combined with Leap, I was able to kind of like hit that total button at the cash register and show the customer, hey, this is what the computer is spitting out on how much your project is going to cost. And it really did help me sell more deals and sell more deals for higher dollars. Next slide, Liz. So with technology, you have an awesome opportunity to introduce yourself and your company even before meeting in person. By emailing resources ahead of time, such as catalogs, case studies, and brochures. This kind of ties back to that step number one. The customer can get to know you and your brand on their own time. So there's so many times like when you're looking to buy something, I've recently bought a camper, and I was looking at different things for it, and just reading reviews and other people's opinions on things is something that really helped me make what I felt like was an informed decision. But on home improvement project, it's very hard because usually every project is unique. You know, a lot of times you can't get a price over the internet. Most of the time you can't get a price over the internet. And when somebody's project costs X, somebody else's project costs Y. Like it's very hard to compare apples to apples. So, you know, by communicating as much information as possible to your homeowners ahead of time, you know, it can really help you, you know, make the customer feel a little bit more at ease. So according to a recent survey by Modernize, 46% of homeowners rely on contractors or manufacturer recommendations. So be sure to provide them with ample resources ahead of time. They will be grateful, and you'll make a great impression with them. So, you know, they submit a lead capture form. Send them some brochures. Maybe, you know, maybe you ask them, or you see based on analytics on your website what pages they have visited. Maybe you can send them some brochures and information like, hey, thanks for your inquiry. Here's some brochures and stuff that you can read about. Here's a customer testimonial. Here's a link to our YouTube page on some previous installs we've done. It can really help separate you from the competition. So when you get to the house, a great way to build your professional brand and image is a well-done presentation that depicts your story and your organization, and what separates yourself from the next guy that came in before or after you. Engage is a sales presentation platform that can help you make a presentation uniform across your entire sales team. This is another tool that is super cool. This came out, like I believe, like right after Leap came out. So this wasn't anything that I used in the house. What we actually would do is we paid a company a ton of money to build interactive iBooks. And, you know, it was very hard to get those iBooks updated, and, you know, it was, you know, getting the updates not only from the company that we use to make those iBooks, but then distributing them to all the sales reps to make sure that everybody was on the latest platform. Engage has made that pretty much seamless, and they built some really cool presentations that with some cool transitions and interactions that you can do. So, you know, they're actually one of our partners, and I highly encourage, you know, to create, we used to call them pitch books, but a company presentation, a company story, using them and use that inside of the house, really separate yourself from the next guy that's coming in not using it. So next slide, Liz. It's easy during the sales process to forget you are talking to another human being. Courteous communication is very important, but before we can understand why it is important, we need to understand that what courteous means. You can see the definition here, but what it boils down to is speaking to others the way that you would want to be spoken to, and valuing their time just like you would want to value yours. If DoorDash can tell a customer they will be there in 10 minutes, why can't you? Give them the courtesy of giving them the courtesy of a quick communication can make all of the difference. So Hatch, next slide, yeah. Hatch is a messaging platform that will allow you to streamline communications with your clients and make sure you are keeping in touch. This is a perfect example. This actually just happened to me, a real world example. I was having my carpet cleaned, and they give you the windows, kind of like when the cable guy comes, they give you the window of, hey, we'll be there between 1 and 4 or whatever, you know, the timeline. And you say, okay, well, I'll just sit around for, you know, 3 hours and hope that the, you know, the guy just shows up. You have no idea when he's going to be there. So it was really cool. I got a text message like, hey, your guy will be there in about an hour. I said, awesome. You know, and I was, I don't know, around say like 1:30. And then, you know, 15 minutes before he came out, I got another text message that says, hey, and the name of the person, you know, Jeff, will be at your door in 15 minutes. He's on his way. Sure enough, 15 minutes, the guy was there, and you know, I was like, hey Jeff, how you doing? And blah blah. They said you were going to be here, and it was just a really cool experience. And there's no reason that you can't do that with your customers. Hatch is a tool that can help you make that happen. So you know, here's number 6. Human error is inevitable. It's going to happen from time to time, but using technology, you can significantly decrease your margin of error by just implementing simple technology in your sales process. So, you know, here's a little did you know, according to a recent study conducted by Allstate, it takes an average of 45 minutes for a roof to be measured by hand, which brings us into our next slide, which once again, measurement providers like our sponsor EagleView can help you through this challenge. You know, kind of like with a little in depth on a couple slides before, but I can't stress enough, not just because EagleView is the sponsor of this webinar, but it really was a tool that helped me close more deals, and using it further upstream. We have customers that are using it today, and when every single lead that they run, they order an EagleView obviously on leads that they run. It's not ones that they are selling. They don't sell every single one of them, but they're using it as a tool to close more deals. And this is something that is super low-hanging fruit that you can turn on right now, especially if you're an EagleView customer. And then it also makes it easier to train sales reps. So you bring reps in, it's going to cut down on errors. And people might say, oh, well, the cost of an EagleView report. But if you add up all the cost for errors and omissions, the sales rep forgot a square, or maybe he measured too many square, and that puts you outside of the price point of everybody else that was coming in. EagleView can eliminate a lot of those headaches. Next slide, Liz. So this whole presentation has been about using tech to step up your sales process. Being 100% transparent on the scope of the project will immediately set you apart from competitors who are not as transparent. You need to discuss the entire scope of the project. Make sure you know what products are available and not, and have materials that you are able to send the client that serves as a resource for the project going forward. Next slide, Liz. Here we go. By taking the time to document project details and confirm understandings with the homeowner, the more you will be able to stay on schedule and keep profit margins high. I can't stress this enough. I know everybody on here who deals with homeowners, contracts, sales reps, there are errors and omissions that will go on it. So using technology like these ones here, here's a couple I wanted to highlight. We separate them kind of like two types of tech. First are your manufacturers. Are they online? Do they have a virtual brochure or a price guide? Provia and BCI Acrylic have worked with us to have their catalog on Leap so that the dealers have easy access. So do you ask yourself, do your sales reps have easy access to the product listings? Provia's app was a game changer. So those of you who sell doors and windows, Provia, I used to sell their doors. I didn't sell their windows so much, but they came out with their app. It was a real game changer for me because I was literally able to put that in the customer's hands, and it would update with the thumbnail of what it would look like, what the customer's door or window would look like. They could update their handle, the customer would fall in love with it, and we just move forward through the project. It take all the time, we're buying it out of a catalog. Like that's what we used to do it. It was just a pain in the neck. Company Cam is also a great way to show exactly what you're going to be doing. Document pre-existing damage and just have a ton of reference photos. Company Cam is another really cool tool to gaining a ton of popularity. They're a partner of ours as well, and super cost effective, and just documenting all of the photos and adding those to documents and proposals and emails. And I believe you can even send a link to the customer with all the photos in it. Really can separate yourself from the competition and give the customer just a little bit more value, create a little bit of more value with them when they're buying from you as opposed to somebody who's not. Next slide, Liz. So we talked a lot about tech that will show you how up to date you are, but it's also important to show you your professionalism and how you calculate estimates and prepare documents. This next bit will be a bit of a shameless plug, but this is what Leap does so well. So using Leap, your documents will be clean, organized, and can send them digitally. So for those who don't know, Leap will take care of the entire selling process. Really the part that's sitting at the kitchen table with Mr. and Mrs. Jones, that's where Leap is really strong at. You're going to have a clean, professional looking estimate. Your proposal, your proposal is super important, but it only takes you so far. So next slide, Liv. Leap is a great tool for documentation, creating your brochures, any types of PDFs, so change orders, work orders, completion certificates, your contracts. You can use it for customer-facing documents as well as internal documents. So it's not just limited to sending the documents, the customer documents. You can also just use it to send, your project manager or a sales rep or anyone for that matter. Any type of document. Leap is great for doing that. So, it's also great for DocuSign. This is a great electronic signature and agreement platform that will expedite the process. DocuSign is gaining a ton of traction since COVID hit. We have seen record usage in our platform using DocuSign, and it's a way that I can conveniently send the customer a request for signature. They can sign it, and all the information that is done through DocuSign is going to communicate back through Leap and back to your CRM, which was mentioned earlier. So as we start to wrap up this list, let's continue to talk about impression. You should be showing your homeowners that you are top tier, best of the best. And how do you do that? Is your branding consistent? Are you coming across as professional? Are your documents organized? Are you on the cutting edge of solutions? Another thing I always point out with technology and home improvements where you're kind of at the tip of the spear, or you're first to adopt, right now, or you have the opportunity to be first to adopt, is from the homeowner's perspective, if you just started your business a month ago, or you've been in business for 30 years, the way that the homeowner's perspective is just the guy that's sitting across the kitchen table. So however he conducts himself is how the customer is going to perceive your company. So the tools that you provide them can be a game changer. A company out there that is super button up, does millions and millions and maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue a year, and they have all the processes in place and are just super efficient, you could have a guy that just started last month look exactly the same from the homeowner's perspective as that large company. So if you come in there and all things are equal, technology is, all things equal as far as price and, the products, maybe the installers, a lot of times you're using the same crews as the big guys. So, technology can really separate yourself, in these tools that we're mentioning here and these partners that we're mentioning here can really separate yourself from the next guy that's coming in. And if you're not doing it, I promise you there are guys out there that are doing it. We have a ton of companies who are not just using Leap, but are using all of the other programs and platforms that we're doing. And I will tell you, the largest contractors that are our customers have a process that is digital from the beginning to the end, and they have streamlined it so well, they're able to scale super, super quick. And that's, kind of the whole point of this webinar is to, to streamline your process from the beginning to the end. So I know it seems obvious, but a reputable impression, I know this seems super obvious, but it's super important. So this will give your homeowner peace of mind and trust in you and your services, and you're more likely to win a deal if you are trusted. Obviously, if a customer feels like, hey, I feel good about this, and the value of your product is worth more to them than the money that's in their pocket, that's literally the key to a sale. So, you can definitely use technology to help you do that. Next slide, Liz. So another shameless plug, but hey, when you do it well and want to plug it, all that Leap offers will help you convey that you are a top-tier company that you should trust and better hire. So Leap is really, again, the hub. You're sitting at the kitchen table. We are the hub that connects a ton of the tools that we have mentioned on this webinar together, and allows your reps to be out in the field super efficient. And from your homeowner's point of view, super professional. They feel a lot more trustworthy. Our industry has kind of a stigma of, because everybody knows somebody who does home improvements. I used my friend's uncle or whatever to install my fence, and he never showed up to put the gate on, but I paid him for it. Blah blah blah. Like, you always hear those stories. If it hasn't happened to you, you know somebody has happened to. So you kind of like have a stigma in the industry, and customers are used to doing things digitally now. So it's just like a win-win. Our industry is absolutely going to go digital. We're seeing it. There's a ton of companies who already have it streamlined from the beginning to end, but technology is still in its infancy. Next slide, Liz. So number 10 is fintech, we call it, or financial technology, is one that fits in the final piece of your sales process. So, if you ask yourself, how are you getting paid? How are you able to, how are you making it easy as possible for your customers to get the money to you? So, lenders is a big one. So, next slide, Liz. That's not updating. There you go. So get yourself aligned with the lender and offer your customers more ways to pay for those big projects. Not as many homeowners have 50 grand laying around waiting for an unexpected project. I used to do this thing when I'll be in sales meetings. Now I ask other sales reps, raise your hand if you can write a check for 50 grand right out of your bank account today. And every once in a while you would get a hand, but you would definitely have less hands up than you would down. Not everybody can write a check for 50 grand. But then you ask, hey, raise your hand if you can afford a monthly payment of $300, $400, $500 a month, and you get a lot more hands raised. So offering financing is something that we highly encourage, because you're going to reach more customers. When they advertise the price of cars on TV, they always do it with a monthly payment. They also put the sticker price on there, but a monthly payment is a lot easier for somebody to swallow than it is to write a big check. And it also makes the customer feel a lot more at ease when they don't have to write a big check up front. So don't lose your deal to a contractor simply using a less quality product when your customer could pay over time. So offering your customer these options to pay over time, I promise to win you more business and at a higher dollar per ticket. Here's some of the lenders, that you see here is ones that we are partnered with. On a side note, we have a little, WorldPay logo there. They're not a lender, they're a payment processor. We can also integrate with payment processors in Leap. WorldPay is just one of our partners. We're able to process credit cards right on the spot with, most of the time your existing payment processor. And a lot of times we can switch you to WorldPay and save you a couple basis points on your credit card processing. So you can still deal with cash and checks using Leap. But make sure you're staying relevant with other forms of payment. People are using Venmo today. That's another one I'm starting to see pop up more and more. Cash App. I've seen contractors. I've seen people starting small businesses just selling widgets, and they have the little QR code for Venmo, and that's just a convenient way to pay. And you don't. It's the millennials. A lot of millennials will use that, and that's just their form of easy way to pay. And that's again something that separates yourself from your competition. So. Next slide, here you go. So, that's really it. Thanks for joining me. We covered a lot, and here's a snapshot of all the tools that you really should put in your tool belt. If you have any questions about these logos, we can definitely get you in touch with any of these. These are just our partners. And with that, Liz, you can take it from here.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Steve. Great presentation. So we are, like I mentioned earlier, about to jump into some Q&A. So feel free to start adding your questions to the questions box. Before we do, I will mention we here at Leap are also offering a special promotion to those of you joining us live today. So have a conversation with us and we'll send you a gift card for lunch. If we are a good fit for one another, you'll also get $500 off to use towards your subscription. So whether you're in the business of roofing, windows, siding, flooring, kitchen and bath, or any other home improvement areas, Leap can get rid of the redundancies and errors that slow down your sales process. So you can get a leg up on your competition and scale and grow your business. So with that, we do have a few questions rolling in. And I'll go ahead and kick us off. Got our first question from John. It says, how much does Leap cost and does that include EagleView? Thanks, John.
So Leap, the cost varies, it depends on the size of the company. We have, I think it starts at $50 per user per month. We can definitely have a rep reach out to you and just go over all the ins and outs, because we have a couple different tiers that you can get from, but $50 per month is really our base level that you can get in. I'll tell you this, it's kind of like a cheesy salesman answer, but it is less than what you're paying now. So if whatever you're using now, I promise you, it will cost you more to do it the way that you're doing it than paying for Leap and implementing it and making it digital.
Awesome. All right. One of our audience members today wants to know, is Leap just for roofing? I guess a lot of the examples we did go over today.
So EagleView, roofing, it works very well with. A lot of it is because that's my background is selling roofing, and 70% of the jobs that I sold when I did in-home sales was roofing. But we have companies that use it. Bathrooms is really big. Any exterior modeling, not just roofing, like windows, siding, gutters, trim, like you can use it for that. We have kitchen remodeling companies. We have concrete floor coating. We have painting companies. I mean, it's really anything that we have landscaping companies, anything that you're going out on site and you're giving the customer an estimate and you're writing up some type of proposal and then in turn writing up a contract. That's what Leap is bread and butter.
Very nice. All right, and since you got to do a shameless plug earlier, before I take the next question, I do, for everyone joining us today, invite you all to join us next week. We have a special panel presentation, Back to the Future, preparing the remodeling industry for what's next, with industry experts Mark Richardson, Kermit Baker, the chief economist of the American Institute of Architects, and president of Reborn Cabinets, Vince Nardo. So head to the Leap website, check out our blog, and sign up for next week's. But we do have a few more questions still rolling in. So Steve, our next person would like to know, will the slides be made available after? I'll go ahead and take this one for us. So yes, a recording of today's presentation will be emailed out to all registrants by tomorrow morning, along with a downloadable list of all of the recommended Toolbelt technologies for you to check out. So next question we have, how long does it take to get set up with Leap to start using? Good question.
It's a great question. And it's tough to answer, so I'll try the best I can. So it really depends on what types of products you sell. So all the ones that I mentioned, like exterior modeling, we have templates for pretty much every exterior modeling. You know, and it really depends on how many products you sell. We've had companies set it up in a week. We've had companies that set it up and it takes months. It just depends on how much time you can dedicate it to it. There is no, hey, in this amount of time, you will set it up. It's really, I would highly encourage you to talk to one of our account reps, let him ask you a couple questions, pick your brain about like what you sell, how you guys conduct business now, and then they give you a better timeline on what it would be. So it's really anywhere from a week to infinity. It just depends on how many products that you sell.
Very cool. All righty. Is Leap something I can use on my phone when I'm at an appointment?
Yes, and we actually just released an update, I think it was in March, might have been April, where you can do your documents and everything on the phone. Now, before you could do everything except sign a contract, but now you can even do that. So as long as you have, you know, a phone and, you know, Leap, you could create a proposal, download an EagleView, update your CRM, send the customer a DocuSign, all the functionality that we discussed on this webinar, plus some you can do without an iPad.
Very cool. So actually, I didn't give you any warning, but that was the last question that we had come in. But speaking to what you were saying just a second ago, I mean, we just heard some amazing statistics coming back with our new our new update to the app with practically 0 crashing rates. It's been pretty phenomenal, hasn't it?
Yeah. So we just released a 2.0 version. Great feedback on it, and you know, some new functionality in there. It's a lot of it's geared to getting you up and running faster. So you can actually do it like it basically allows you to build a price guide as you're doing estimates. So as you're doing an estimate, like let's just say you open it up, there's nothing in your price guide when you first start. It's the very first estimate that you run. So you just build that one, and you know, type in your things, and then when you send that estimate, the next time you come, all those things will be in there. So you can just select those, add 1 or 2 more that you might not have added the first time, and then over time you're building your pricing guide out. So you get to your time to value a lot faster. That combined with a lot of the templates that we have, you can just download and use in your account, and you can really be off to the races a lot faster than if you came on with Leap a year ago.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you again, Steve, for sharing your time with us today. And thank you to everyone watching at home or from the office. We're glad you could join us. As I mentioned, we will be emailing out today's webinar recording along with your hit list of tools first thing in the morning as it finishes processing. And please feel free to share with your colleagues. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday, everyone, and we will see you next time. Thanks, all.